everybody, I'm Jona, and today I have an exciting video for you. I did a collaboration. Being Friends is the channel that I'm collaborating with today. We did a game swap. Evan from Being Friends recommended a game to me that I had never played before, and I recommended one of my favorite games to him that he had never played. We're going to review them, and then we're going to find out what the other person thought about our favorite game. If you're not familiar with Being Friends, it is a board gaming channel. It's just like him and his brother and his friends and his roommates make these videos, and there's playthroughs, there's unboxings, there's a lot of Spirit Island videos, which is what drew me to it. And it's just very warm. It's a very creative environment. Like, I love the lighting that they use in their videos. They're just really funny. They talk about like eating muffin paper.
After you eat the muffin, there's
or
some
cupcake.
Or there's some left over.
They're just very genuine, and you feel like you're part of the group as soon as you go over there. So I enjoy their channel. I'm so excited to be able to share their channel with you and to do this video with them. Evan is going to tell you about his game recommendation and why he loves it. And then we're going to dig into it. I'm going to show you some footage of us playing it for the first time, and we'll review it.
If I had to recommend one game to you, Jonah, I think that it would have to be Aeons End, especially Aeons End Legacy. This is one of the best co-op, solo, and deck building games out there, and this is a great legacy game, which happens to be the best place to start for Aeons End because you are building your mage from scratch. So I'm super excited to hear what you have to say, what you think about this game. It's one of my favorites of all time for so many reasons. Side note, sharing my favorite things in the world with people is one of my love languages. So for everyone who's watching, that's one of the reasons why I do this channel, Being Friends, because to me, it's the best thing in the world being able to share with you my favorite games, and hopefully you can find some that you enjoy as well. So being able to do this collaboration with One Pip Wonder has been so fun because I got to share Aeons End with you guys, and you got to share Western Legends with me, and it's been great. So back to you. I hope you have a ton of fun.
We picked up Aeons End Legacy right around New Year's, and we had a babysitter for the whole weekend. My husband and I binged Aeons End Legacy over a 3-day period. All right, so Aeons End is a deck building fantasy RPG style game. You are all these like mages in training, and your city is under attack from this paranormal like demons and monsters that are like coming through the breaches and attacking the city and trying to take over everybody's minds and their bodies and killing everything. So you guys are just on the defense. You're on the alert. You are just, fighting off the bad guys tooth and nail. Everyone starts with a small hand of cards. You have like a starter hand, and some of the cards can cause a little bit of damage, and some of them are crystals. The crystals can be used as ether to buy better cards from the supply. So that's what you do every time you play a small number of cards, and you can either cause damage to the enemy. You can take out you can either cause damage to like the mothership type enemy, or you can try and take out a card that the enemy has out on its deck that is causing some specific sort of damage every time to the city, or it'll cause a damage to a specific player, which can be really bad because if you lose your health, then you're out and you can't do anything to help the team any longer. And when you're only playing with 2 players, that cannot happen. So it's very much like a siege game where you are just battling until the last card is flipped and you're able to take that bad guy's health down to 0. And then that session will kind of be over, and then the story will pick up again when you come back to the table to play. And because it's a legacy game, when you come back to play, your character you'll have the same like deck of cards, everything will be the same, but then you get to add some new cards, you'll get to add an ability to your character's little board, or put a sticker somewhere that'll give you a special rule. And this is the same for the enemy. Those enemies will be kind of changed a little bit with either adding stickers to them. They have this thing called the evolve cards, and there's these like little patches for you to put stickers down the card, and when you get to that final sticker, that card is gonna trigger a really bad monster. All right, so my husband and I talked about this a lot, and like I said, we played it over New Year's, so it was a while ago, but some of the things that we really liked about it was the fact that it was just an awesome deck builder. We both liked the choices for the supply cards. When you started a new session, you would have 4 or 5 different types of cards that you could add to the supply and kind of swap it out. I really liked that. I felt like the upgrades were interesting. Some were better than others, but then some were like different than others. It was a nice combination of choices. And I felt like when we came to the end of the game, our supply deck that we had built was really awesome. I really like the idea of the breaches. So when you're playing a spell card or any action, you have to put it in a breach. You have to pay the crystals to put a card in an open breach. And you can also invest in those breaches and spin them to the point where they're open. And then you can always play those cards, and some of the breaches you'll be able to maybe do a tiny bit more damage in specific breaches. But I love the idea of having to deal with like a door to cast your spell, and you have to manage that. I thought that was really interesting. I didn't like this part of it because it scared me, but my husband was a big fan. He pointed out that the evolve part of the legacy game was really interesting. It really built up this like anxiety about what was going to happen. And again, that was something kind of new to us that we hadn't played, where like you had to add stickers every time you let that monster linger too long, or if you didn't like take it out, it would evolve and then you knew something bad was gonna happen. I thought that was really cool. Hi, future Jona here, popping in. I realized during editing that I forgot a critical part about this game that I loved, and that is the turn deck. When you start a new round, you shuffle this tiny deck of cards, and it's filled of 2 cards for each player and for the nemesis. And then you randomly flip those cards over, and whatever card is flipped, that's whose turn it is. Super simple idea, but it created so much suspense and unpredictability in the perfect way. A round would go really well if Daniel and I had a chance to go back to back, and it would go so bad if the nemesis went back to back, and you just didn't know what was gonna happen. It really made the game more immersive and brought it to life, and I hadn't played a game that had a turn deck like that before, or one that meant so much. So I just had to come back in here and make sure to let you know about the turn deck. That was one of the things that made this game so exciting. As far as the challenge level, it was good. So we just lost our first session. Yeah, it was down to a turn. And so we lost.
We weren't very good.
But from then on, we grew and we got better, and also we had better cards and better abilities, and it just always felt like we were on the edge of losing, but we were able to just scrape by every time. A couple things that we didn't like about this game mostly had to do with the legacy part. And what we didn't like was that no matter how well you did or how poorly you did, the story wouldn't change. If you won, there wasn't any place to rate how well you did. And if you lost, the monsters were just gonna be easier next time. So that felt very disappointing. I wanted there to be an effect that would happen when I did well. There wasn't that depth there, and so that was pretty disappointing. We both felt like the storyline was really paper thin. It was predictable, pretty much your stereotypical paranormal bad guy coming in to, take over everything that's good and pure. And so yeah, it was a little lame. As far as it being like an RPG character building, or it was very, very basic. your characters didn't change. You were given new spell cards, or you could like maybe cast a special spell when this certain one thing happened. When your character would get an upgrade, it was usually something they already had that just looked a little different. Future me popping in one last time. I need to clarify how much we liked Aeons End. Even though the legacy part was a disappointment and let us down in a couple ways. Ultimately, Aeons End is an awesome deck builder. I love the idea of the breaches. I like the theme a whole lot. And I really enjoy things like the turn deck and the team building and the suspense. And yeah, I mean, we couldn't stop playing it. So it's a great game. And I'm pretty sure I would not have played it except for Evan's recommendation. So I'm so grateful that he threw this out for us to try because I enjoyed it so much. And now that we're through the legacy part, we can play Aeons End as a base game, basically, because we went through the whole story. Now our mages are all built up. So we will be playing it, and I'm so glad I have this game in my collection. I am curious to find out what Evan thought about Western Legends. If you are too, you should head over to his channel, watch his review, watch his side of the collaboration video, and be sure to like and subscribe to his channel. It is a really fun channel. If you like my content, you're gonna love his content. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And we just named our characters. Named him Sue after the Johnny Cash song. Who are you playing?
I'm playing Janet.
Janet?